Sure, you all read the thumbnail. You've seen the caption. Is it a cube? Is it an octahedron? I'm just going to present a little bit of information, kind of, make your own decision about it. So we're going to jump right into Revelation 21, the new heaven and the new earth, the new Jerusalem here. So the verse we're uh, immediately going to look at is verse 16. And the city layeth foursquare, and the length is as large as the breadth. Okay, so the city layeth foursquare, and it is large as it is wide, same breadth, same width, same height. So that was the King James. This is the LSB. Just the Old English can sometimes be hard to get the full picture, the full message. So and this is 16 LSB, and the city is laid out as a square, and its length is as great as the height or width. Sorry. So same breadth, same width, same height, just as in same scripture. Well, also, I'd like to bring attention though to this verse here, is Isaiah 40:22. And obviously in the Revelations, a square doesn't always necessarily mean that it has to be a cube. Just as in this verse here, in some instances, people would use this verse to defend a stance of a certain view of a cosmological model, whether it be a plane or infinite plane or a globe or a sphere or whatever, however they perceive it. But this verse right here, the circle of the earth, this right here is used in defense of a flat plane, just because obviously a circle is not a globe, but it's not a sphere. Same thing that's going on with Revelation. That a square, something laid out as a square, is not necessarily a cube, just as, circle's not always a sphere or a ball. Platonic solids, it's not far-fetched that a cube would match up with an octahedron. These are kind of mirror each other a little bit in terms of same breadth, width, and height. And then with this, we'll just jump over the duality of an octahedron is a cube. So same breadth, same width, same height. We'll jump over here. This is a three-dimensional rendering of the model. So if the city was laid out as a square, so if you go within the octahedron, you could see that if you could fit a square city in here at the base, right in the center median of the two pyramidal octahedrons or pyramids, creating the octahedron right in here. And is this why pyramid symbolism is so prominent? Is that why cube symbolism is so prominent in our world right now? While I was making this, I just thought for what, Ezekiel's temple vision. What if Ezekiel's temple vision is, it's just food for thought, just information. So fluorite, cube fluorite, octahedral fluorite, it's a natural formation in nature, is the octahedron. You can even find it still in matrix, shaped just like an octahedron natural. It's not carved. It's not anything, made with human hands. This is straight from the earth. Also gold, or not gold, but gold pyrite. Pyrite, octahedral forms, same thing, right in its matrix. But don't get it twisted. There is, cubed pyrite. There's cube structures within nature that are natural too, just like the octahedron. But there's other meat. There's more meat in this information or in this presentation. We'll get there. All right, so this is octahedrite. So these are standard iron meteorites, that come from quote unquote space or inner space. They're predominantly iron and nickel. They demonstrate, this is the most distinct thing in these Widmanstätten patterns in their octahedral shape, if you can see. These come from space, from inner space, outer space. All right, now here's kind of the build-up. We're getting to more meat of the topic. So crystal field theory. With this, so if you have 6 points around a positive cation, it creates an energetic field. So, boom, it completes an energetic field. Six energy points, anons, ligands, around a positive cation, negative positive. It creates its own energetic field. Crystal field theory, I would recommend looking up this video, watching it all. So this is just kind of an overview of what we just went over. Anions and cations, how there's positive and negative charge and how things create that. So this is just kind of mathematics going over what these structures do, kind of alongside with crystal field theory. So why I brought this up is because it demonstrates, pretty much a side by side of what a cube and an octahedron looks like with these molecules, with these energetic molecules set up. So you notice here that the cation in the center of the cube, it's just a little awkward. I don't know. Like if the city was really a cube, would he be suspended in the middle? Bam, right here. Would this make more sense? So if the floor of the city's here, the cation would be in the center. You would have, what are these like? It would be almost like would that be the living rivers flowing to the throne? But here's all the mathematics with it. And they create the major point in this is electrostatics. This creates electrostatic. It does generate energy. Just like the cube, all of these structures, everything's here. You can go look through these yourself if you need to. If you're a big math person, a big math individual who likes looking at numbers, this will be something for you. So let's go over to. We can't forget about this. This is just it's piezoelectricity. So I'm going to quickly read it. Materials like crystals that generate an electric voltage when subjected to mechanical stress, such as pressure or force. Okay. So basically, crystals, referred to as piezoelectricity, can generate electrical charges, electrical voltage under mechanical stress, pressure, or force. Now we're going to get into it, all right? So this is the CMOR, the Canadian Meteor Orbiting Radar. What did they do? What is this? The CMOR is a multi-frequency VHF radar used to detect the ionized trails associated with ablating meteoroids. It's been in operation for a while. They've done over 4 million individual orbits. Here's where it is. This is all the information if you want to go back through and look through it yourself. All the statistics, just all the information that you would need to really look into this if you're more interested in the CMOR. So we're going to jump over to this paper here. So what this paper is, sorry, I'm outside. It's kind of a lot of traffic today. Seasonal variations in the North Toroidal Sporadic Meteor Source. It's kind of interesting, in my opinion. It's kind of interesting how they worded this. I don't know if I would have worded it like that. Probably would have worded it more something like North Sporadic Meteorites over the Toroidal Source. I will spare you reading this whole thing, but the major points and topics are here. These meteoroids, I'm air quoting, are at the Earth. The distribution of sporadic radiance in the sky is not random. Most sporadic meteorites have radiance in one of 6 radiant concentrations, often called the sporadic sources. Okay, so this object, whatever they're viewing, has 6 radiant concentrated sources. So this thing has 6 radiant concentrated sources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's cool. So there's a northern toroidal source, and there is also a southern toroidal source. But the southern toroidal source characterizes the northern toroidal source. Right here, it's better. The toroidal source is better observed from the northern hemisphere. This is it right here. This is what I've been wanting to show you guys. This is what they're looking at. This is what they're looking at. Now, keep in mind, they're not measuring anything physical. They're not measuring physical meteorites. They're measuring the radiant density of the CMOR. Now we jump back here. What are they measuring? The ionized trails associated with ablating meteoroids. They're not measuring physical. They're measuring radiant energy. So this is an overlay of all the radiant densities from their study, I'm assuming, from throughout the year. This is just another interesting thing that I needed to highlight and wanted to bring forth. It is more interesting to look at how the radiant distribution of the north toroidal source changes with seasons. So this thing is affected by the seasons, or does this thing affect the seasons? Interesting. Okay, so we're going to go down. Now, this is where it gets kind of, whoa. So what they're doing is they're taking imagery from the sky from our northern hemisphere, and this is what they're capturing. So this is a 10-day span. Boom, boom, boom. Every 10 days, they're taking a picture of the sky of what this is up there, these sporadic meteors. But as we just see, they're not really measuring, they're not looking at anything physical. It's radiant density of the CMOR is what they're picking up. So I'm just going to go over this, kind of look at it, and then we're going to put it all together. So you got 355. It's 365 days of this. Every 5 days they snapped an image of this what they're calling the CMOR of the sporadic meteoroids is what they're calling. They're measuring this as sporadic meteoroids. So we're going to jump over here because they infrareded it. Okay. North apex, south apex of what? Of an octahedron. What is this here? This looks like what that energy field that was created when all of the crystals came together, when the crystal field theory. Helion, antihelion. So they're saying that the sun is by this thing, that this thing might play a factor in the sun. It obviously plays a factor in the seasons, or the seasons are affected by it, or it affects the seasons. So here we go. So what this is here, they did a video of it. What do you notice? It looks like it's rotating. It looks like a rotating energy toroidal field of a what? Doesn't look like a cube. They say, when they say heaven is closer than we think, is this true? This is probably the most interesting clip. This is done by a gentleman, Stephen Christopher. He took the time to clip these together. I'd recommend going over to his channel and checking it out. So this is the full 365 days cut together. What are we witnessing here? What do they have? What did they get in the sky at the north? You know, doesn't look like a cube. Looks like it has an energy field, a complete energy field in itself. So that's the CMOR. That's the image of what they're catching. Just, one final thing. So they say in New Jerusalem, it falls, it returns to the heavenly kingdom descends to earth. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with electrohorticulture or not, but it would be very interesting. So say the bottom of this thing is a different substance than the top. So say the top would be obviously the 12 stones, the 12 tribes of the Israelites in order. Boom, boom, boom. All of the crystalline structures. What if the bottom part is something more like iron, nickel, like these meteorites that come in contact with Earth? What if this thing descends, and it hits the Earth, and that portion of the pyramid, which is deep within the Earth, and it creates something like this? It's just a theory. It's just something to think about. Definitely. It's just something to think about. When you go back through and you look at this, I'll just run it one more time. I don't want to get flagged, so I got it muted or anything. But when you see something like when I first seen this, I didn't really know what to make of it. Then I went and researched it myself. Came up with a little presentation to show you guys. But it's not concrete. It's information. You can go back through it, watch it, pause. If you've seen some stuff, I left all the website information up here if you want to go through it, look for it, look at it yourself, especially with some of this more more technical information. With the CMOR stuff, there's a lot to it. But basically, they're saying they're looking at sporadic meteorites, but they're literally just measuring radiant density, of whatever's up there. They say maybe it's a lot closer than we think. But hey, that's it. Like and subscribe, share, comment if you appreciate it. I appreciate you guys watching. All praise to the Most High for real. All blessings. Have a good day.